All right, everybody. Welcome to another week of Game Wisdom Live. And now I accidentally put the sound on. There we go. That's better. Welcome to another week of Game Wisdom Live for the week of May 19, 2019. We are right on the edge of summer, and it is blistering hot over here. It's only going to get worse. But we have another week of industry discussions and looking at a variety of games to go over. Unfortunately, Rob had a last-minute emergency that he had to pull out of, but fortunately, we have our backup co-host. Please welcome to the cast once again, indie game developer Shark.
Hello, everyone. It's glad to be back.
Hey, Shark, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Get the things over here. Yeah. It's been quite an interesting week, at least for game wisdom-wise. I think we broke the 4,400 subscribers. So we're getting close to the big 5,000. It's going to happen eventually, I guess. Work continues on these lovely little Josh boxes. This is the latest one that I got done here. I think I only have like one more left to finalize, and then I can start to get them mailed out. But yeah, they are being made. It's just taking a very long time, and that goes to some of the other work I've been doing. For those of you who missed the announcement, I've begun my plans for, global conquests of the library systems. As I've been emailing libraries in northern New Jersey, Delaware, Pennsylvania, I'm going to be reaching out all across the United States about putting on virtual presentations regarding the game industry, because they've been doing so well here. And as I was saying, on Twitter and Facebook, if this works, this may solve a lot of my issues, at least with getting money and such. But it's still very early. The thing that you don't understand about, if you're not used to dealing with libraries or education, they are very slow. So right now, what I'm talking to them, we're basically talking about 3 to 4 months from now. So it's important I have to get in now and hopefully get ready for their fall semester. But once I'm in, then it should be smooth sailing. But again, maybe in a week or so I'll have more news on that. But I guess for you, Shark, how's Project Triad going?
We're making some good progress again. We were very kind of held back for a while with various issues, but we're progressing now. We've gotten. Our artist is coming into start, basically, and we've got a new programmer on the team, assistant programmer, rather, and things are starting to go at a good pace again.
Good to hear. And for people who are watching us new, you, of course, have your monthly developer chat. That's the first Saturday of every month, right?
Right. It's the first Saturday every month. But next month is probably going to be canceled, sadly, because I have to move.
And good luck with that.
Thanks. I'm going to need it.
Mm-hmm. Moving is always fun, I think, as we all know.
Especially when you can't find a place to move to.
Yes. But I guess on a lighter topic, or I guess quote-unquote lighter topic, there is, of course, game industry discussions to be had. So, I guess, have you had a chance to play any new games or look at anything on your end?
Well, not all of them are new, but I have been playing 3 games lately, and those would be Kingdom 2 Crowns, Dragon Cliff, and Oxygen Not Included.
How are you finding Oxygen Not Included?
I love Oxygen Not Included. It's an amazing game. I have, I don't know, probably 300, 400, 500 hours into it. I don't know. Actually, let me check out of curiosity here.
Yeah, Oxygen Not Included was one of those games that it's trying again to be a more refined or a more polished version of Dwarf Fortress, and it seems to be the one that's come I think the closest to that kind of goal.
I've got 270 hours on it.
Oh,
I don't really see it as a Dwarf Fortress. I see it more of a crafting survival game, more like a like a 7 Days to Die or a Subnautica, but in 2D kind of thing. and more engineering kind of thing, less combat kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
There are enemies of swords, but they're not like threats. They're more like, like humans have like animals around. Like, I mean, there are tigers that can hurt us, but mankind, can take care of a tiger pretty easily.
Yeah, it's not like tools. Don't Starve, where all of a sudden you'll get attacked by packs of wolves coming to kill you.
Yeah, it's very peaceful. I mean, your main issues is in there that you're fighting against is keeping it off oxygen, keeping everything powered, not running out of core elements. Like you run out of dirt, you can't fertilize, you can't feed yourself. You run out of sand, and then you can't purify and clean, filter air and stuff, and then you die from pollution. And it's more like survival based on, can you eat, breathe, and power things that you need to eat and breathe, and not get sick.
Yeah. And it's been in development for a long time. Again, Clay has really, I think, done really well with early access for all their games. Invisible Ink, Don't Starve, what was it? Hot Lava, there we go. And other ones. But it's nice to see that I think it's starting to wrap up, because they've spent a really long time on this one.
Yeah, it's really a fun game already. Like, it's been a really fun game for a long time. It's hard, but it's hard in a different way. It's no like what was that? 1 billion.
They are billions.
Yeah, they are billions. It's not hard like that. I mean, it's more like it's easy to play, but it's hard to go a long time. Like I can consistently go 100+ cycles, but it's after you get to that for me anyway. It's after I get to that 100+ cycle where I start to run out of dirt and all this other stuff, and still trying to figure out a way around that. Of course, you can find videos on YouTube, all kinds of tutorials out there and everything. But there are ways around it. Like, I just recently found a way around the dirt situation by using filtering the polluted water through a filtration system, and then that produces clean water, and then you're left with polluted dirt that you can put into a I forget what it's called, like a fertilizer pile, and turn it into regular dirt. But then I'm running to the issue that I'm running out of sand to put into that, which I think there's a rock crusher which I can take different materials and turn them into sand.
Yeah. And there's always multiple ways of either gathering resources or using them, which is one thing that I really like about Oxygen Non-Clue compared to like a lot of the other survival games, and even something like Don't Starve, that it's not just you must always have this one resource and it's used for the building no matter what. You can use different materials and it may affect the quality or the cleanliness, but it's never like, if I run out of X, I'm done. Like, I always have to keep this in. At least for some of the basic stuff. I'm sure for like advanced materials or advanced structures, it's probably more restrictive.
Well, actually, the ones that you run out, the ones that you really have to worry about running out of, are actually the basics, because you get the basics all around your base, and then you're constantly using those basics, and then as you're expanding and building up farther and farther, there's no more basics.
Yeah.
But you keep on growing and growing, and then you're out of basics, and that's where dirt and sand kind of runs into its issues. But there are ways around it. I mean, I heard of a way that you can take slime, and which is very plentiful, and boil that, heat it up really high, and create dirt out of that. But you can also take the slime and put it into algae purifier and get algae out of it, which is another one that you run out of, which you can use that for like producing oxygen and turning carbon dioxide into oxygen.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another one of the basics that you have issues running out of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And yeah, it's been in development for, like we said, for a long time, and definitely excited to try it out at 1.0. Again, I played Clockwork Empires, and unfortunately that kind of fizzled out near the end. Now, I guess speaking about like city builders and stuff like that, I've been playing Surviving Mars. I had a gift card like lying around, so I got the super fancy, Game of the Year edition on sale. So I have the game with all the expansions and DLC. So I have a chance to, I guess, play the game in what people consider to be like the completed version of it. So we'll probably do like a night or two of it on stream, maybe this week, just to see how it looks. I really want to try out that Green Planet expansion and kind of see if what they're saying is true in terms of how much it adds to the game.
Yeah, from what I've heard, is that it should have been part of the core game.
Mm-hmm. Now, let's see. Is there anything else, I guess, games we've played? I finished Shakedown Hawaii. I didn't really enjoy that, and I did try Ashen. And as you guys know, I'm kind of right now debating whether or not I want to return it or not. It's a very interesting idea, but it feels more like a generic third-person like action RPG than it does like a Souls-like, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense from what I've seen.
Mm-hmm. But speaking about buying games off of Epic, I think that takes us to our first topic then. And that has to do with the Epic Games Store. And more specifically, how they had their first mega sale. And it's causing a lot of bad blood, I guess, between them and some of the developers. So, for those of you who missed the news, Epic has been basically throwing as much money as they can at the problem of trying to take on Steam. And if Epic has like a big ball of cash they want to throw at me, I will gladly take that if they're watching this right now. But they had their first store sale. And let me grab the page up here really fast. Oh, if I can actually... Yeah, this can actually work. 1 second, I can pull up the demo here. There we go. So it's the Epic Mega Sale. So their big thing that they're trying to do is all the games are going to be up to, or most of their games are be on discount up to 75% off. And then there's this lovely thing right here. Any game that is $15 or more, they will automatically take $10 off of it. So something like John Wick Hex over here. Yeah, I'm sure we're all 18. As you can see, it's on sale for $17, but if you buy it right now, you'll get it for, $18, you'll get it for $8. And this is a very bold move by them. And again, it's basically Epic trying to get at Steam, I guess, the simplest way possible by throwing more and more money at it. But it's caused some issues with some of the developers, specifically games that aren't out yet. And Borderlands 3 and another title were pulled from the store because they were being sold at a lower price than what they wanted. And apparently it's been rumored that Epic didn't tell anybody that they were going to do this. And that is a very weird situation. So
yeah, it is. It really is. They've really garnered it. I feel like they didn't even have Epic themselves didn't really have any idea what they were doing as a company. Like I feel like one or two people at the top is like, hey, let's just do this, and then nobody else was informed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and again, like as we talked about last time when we had our great Digital Store War of 2019 discussion, that it definitely seems like they're trying to, they're trying to be number one, but they're doing this as fast and kind of as half-assed as possible.
They're just throwing money at the problem, from what I see.
Yeah. And it's one of those very weird situations. We were talking about this on stream the other night, that we're not seeing, like, an answer from Epic in terms of, why should I go to the store other than the fact that you have different games. There's still no achievement system. The store UI is still bad. And unless you are, hardcore Fortnite player, there's nothing really here for you.
Speaking of Fortnite, there's something I noticed in that on that same page you pulled up.
Mm-hmm.
Is that while you get all these discounts and there's like the up to 75% off and the $10 off of every game that's $15, what I've noticed is that there is absolutely zero discount for any microtransactions or anything, meaning that there is no discounts on Fortnite.
Yeah, and I think what they're trying to do kind of get around that is that you technically can't buy anything Fortnite related from the Epic Games Store, at least from outside the game. You can only get that from in the game. So that could be their way of kind of skirting around that issue. But yeah, it's that very weird point there that Fortnite and the Epic Games Store are kind of like two separate entities right now. And again, like, it's yet to be decided or to be seen, like, who is the Epic Games Store going to be for?
The Epic Game Store is going to be for Epic.
Yeah.
Basically, is the way I say it is, the way they're throwing money at this and the way they're doing things just all leads me to believe that they're saying one thing and doing another kind of thing. They're like, we want to make everything good for the developers, give them a better percentage and everything. But that feels like hey, look at this. We're doing something good with, and here's like, a ton of crap, shoved underneath the carpet.
Mm-hmm.
It's got like, you walk into this room and it's like, here, look at this shiny poster made out of gold. And then there's a rug that's, that takes up the entire room that is, you can see little pieces poking out of it kind of thing. Just this rug, with everything swept underneath it. Almost taking up the whole entire room. But hey, look at that poster.
Mm-hmm. And again, with the amount of money they're throwing around, like, we've seen a few developers get into hot water. Like, I know the Terraria guys said something along the lines of, we're not selling our soul to Epic, to get our game on the store. And that just seemed very, I think, that seemed kind of out of line to me. Like, what do you think?
I mean, the way I see it is, with what they're doing right now is like, I don't think I can pretty much guarantee you I would not accept an exclusive from them kind of thing. But at this point, they're going so anti-consumer that I would just struggle to be on their platform at all, associated with them kind of thing, because it's getting really nasty. And it's one of those things where I would almost want them to pay me the same money they're paying for exclusives just for me to not be an exclusive and actually be on their platform at all. It's getting to that point. And that's not a point where you want to be at.
I guess where I'm coming from, Foreign, is that there are developers out there excuse me. There are developers out there who are struggling to the point that if they can get money from a publisher, they can actually keep going as a studio. And like, for them, it's basically a case of either they accept Epic, or their game is not going to get made, or it may not get made at the level of quality they want. Now, you could argue that, that could be a production problem as well. But yeah, as you're saying, and as El Gordo just pointed out, it's going to be very weird in 1 year's time when these games, when the exclusivity deals run out. Because this is another thing we were saying online or on the stream, that do you think these developers are going to have the balls, I guess, to go on Steam and say, hey, our game's finally on Steam and it's full price. Come and buy it here now.
I'm sure a lot of them will, but probably not, potentially not all of them, but I'm sure a lot of them will have that kind of balls, especially the first ones that they come in, because they won't, most of them will not be thinking about that kind of thing, and they won't be, aware of the minefield that they're walking into.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And they're going to be, a few of them will be like, well, what's the problem? We're on Steam now. Why won't you pay us, full price for our game?
Yep.
Yeah. And El Gore and I are on the same mindset there. I'm going to assume Phoenix Point is going to be one of those developers.
Probably. Just a question on is, will there be enough enough games that come before it that rock into that minefield and step on those landmines and explode before Phoenix Point does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if enough people explode before Phoenix Point does, maybe they'll take. They laughed at the backers. Well, then they're probably not going to learn from their lessons anyway. If that's the case.
Yep. And I think with, as the Dragon said, for the developers who needed this money or who were entirely indie, they have no other games and they're using the Epic exclusivity to kind of get their games out, I think that's a different story. And as we said, it's different when it's from a brand new developer or somebody small who's getting this money as kind of like a life preserver to survive, versus a major studio basically saying, we're going on Epic, we don't need this money, we're just doing it to kind of screw Valve and screw Steam. Because, we saw that with Ubisoft. Ubisoft is not hurting for money anytime soon in this regard. But if it's a chance to kind of stick it to Valve, they went in for it.
Yeah, and the thing is when you look at most of the exclusives that Epic are signing, that's pretty much what these are. They're not people who are depending on money.
Yeah.
They're people who already have money.
Mm-hmm.
And because Epic is not going after indies that make great games that can't support themselves. They're going after people who already have large audiences to try to pull those audiences to Epic.
Mm-hmm.
Which means that those people are not hurting for money.
It's
generally.
It's the same thing with trying to court YouTubers and influencers. They're not going for people who are quality or have a unique voice. They're caring about their sub count. Do you want here's the question, I'm going to probably get a meme from this. Do you want me or do you want Ninja covering your game? Chances are you're going to want Ninja.
Well, actually, it's not even the sub count that I've been, as a developer, I've been schooled in what to look for in a YouTuber and everything. And it's not the sub count that matters. What matters is the views that your videos have. Mm-hmm. And basically what I was told is basically if a YouTuber has, for every 100 views a video gets, basically that has a decent chance to cause one wish list, which could potentially turn into one sale. Mm-hmm. So if somebody is not consistently getting 100 views, mm-hmm. then it's not worth giving them a key, because you're giving away a copy of your game, mm-hmm. but you're not even potentially selling a copy at that rate. But there are exceptions to where streamers are, or content creators are close to a community and have more influence over them and have more impact in that. But as a generality, 100 views is that mark where you might break even on a key. Mm-hmm. Of course, when you have free keys, you can give them out like candy, and there's pretty much no consequence. But
Yeah.
when the game's a paid game, that's when you're kind of like, do we want to give out a key because we could potentially lose money here?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to look at not only the views, but then you have to look at past that. You have to look at the channels, and
Exactly.
if they hit your target audience, if they're playing a bunch of first person shooters, they're not going to be interested in RPGs.
Or they may be just wanting the key just to have the key so they play on their own. Like they're not going to really do any coverage on it. Because again,
exactly.
if they're a football channel, they're not going to stream themselves playing Dark Souls, basically.
No. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, as you said, Shark, like you have, and this will probably we actually better save this for our next part of our stream then. But we'll come back to the reviewers and the influencers later on. But back to the Epic Games Store and what's going on here. Like, when it comes, like, with Subnautica, like, we've seen, like, these games get very popular thanks to their influencers, and they're also on the Epic Games Store. But, as you were saying regarding, like, what developers are being courted, that's kind of the point that a lot of people have been making. And it's one that we've been discussing many times over here on the stream and a lot of our videos. That it's a very weird, I don't know if this would be considered a catch-22 or not, regarding who to court for a store. Because, as we've seen, trying to create a storefront in terms of what games to get on or not is a very tough call, by the store itself. Like, for instance, I'm still on that Jump, the streaming platform that I played a few of their games on. And it's one of those cases where, do you get the game that is very unique but looks very, doesn't look polished, doesn't have that wow factor, or do you try to get, a Super Meat Boy, any one like those games that that the influencers play? Because it's that problem of, if I have a bunch of unique games on the store that no one's ever heard of, are they going to take that bite and try to get on it? Or do I go for, again, the ones everybody's ever heard of?
Yeah, that's a problem. That's the reason why. That's another reason why, like, new indies or unestablished indies are having so much problem now, because you pretty much have to have an audience already to be able to get the baseline sales, get the baseline reviews, get Steam and all these other algorithms to pick it up and actually promote your game. Where if you don't have that, then it's just an endless cycle. It's like a snowball kind of thing. And if you have one snowflake, you can roll that thousands of times and you may pick up 1-2 other snowflakes kind of thing. And you're just doing a whole lot of nothing. Where if you start with a snowball, you roll that a few rolls and you've got a snowman,
Yep.
So it's one of those things where if you don't have an audience to begin with, the odds of you actually getting anywhere is next to nothing, and you have to have exposure to get out there. But exposure is very hard to get.
Yep. And again, it's that case of, once you've made it, you're pretty much golden. But how do you make it in the first place? And it's the same thing like going with the Epic Games Store. That you're going to get on the store that's curated, which is, yay, that's great, but you're still being lumped next to every AAA company that Epic has been courting. And how are you still going to stand out? Again, if somebody looks on the Epic Games Store and they see, Borderlands 3 or Bloodlines 2 or any of those other games, and then they see your tiny little game, what are they going to go for first?
Yeah. That's the issue. There are so many good games out there. So many good games. And even if we got rid of all the asset flips, all the low quality games, even if we got rid of all of those or curated them into their own section to where they don't mix in, there's just so many great games out there that exist that there's just not enough consumers to buy them.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And yep, exactly, Gore. That again, like we're not hearing Epic promote indies. Like we're hearing them promote again all the big name games they've gone on there, and of course Fortnite. But have we actually heard them say, "Hey, here are some new indie games that we've got on"? I mean, even Nintendo was spotlighting some of their indie games on some of their direct shows.
Yeah, Nintendo has found the light of that indies can make money,
Mm-hmm.
and they have definitely been like trying to capitalize on that.
Oh yeah. But like we said on many times over, the second you hear about the gold rush, it's already over, basically.
Yeah, and that's kind of where we're at on game development. Is like there was a gold rush, and now the bubble is bursting basically right now, and this is where the bubble burst, and because where we have all these asset flips, all these low quality games, and then we just have so many great games that just them alone, there's not enough consumers for them. So we've exceeded supply over the demand, and now stuff has got to die unless somehow demand can go up. If demand does not go up, then supply has to go down, and that's where the burst comes.
Yeah. And again, like for the people who are already established, they're good at this point. Again, I don't think any of us are going to think that Red Hook Games is going to go out of business anytime soon, or nobody's going to buy the next game from Stardew Valley's creator, and so on. But it's the same thing that we see on YouTube. That getting in YouTube 6-7 years ago is a completely different place than it is today, or when I started back in 2016. And
yep, because back then you just had to make videos and you were going to succeed. Now you have to make videos with really good quality, really good length.
You need algorithms. You need to match SEO.
Yep, and you need all kinds of stuff, and you need to promote it, but not over promote it, kind of thing.
Yep.
And it's very much video games running pretty much.
Shark, you're breaking up there. Can you still hear us? Yeah, it all of a sudden got like very distorted. Oh wait, I see. It looks like Discord is having some problems. Hold on. Let's yeah. Let's let me call you right back and let's see if that fixes the stream. All right, hold on one second. Let's see if I join the call.
Let me try it.
Test. Can you hear me? Oh.
Okay, maybe that works.
It looks a little bit better. It's still giving me a 45 milliseconds of ping.
Yeah, I'm seeing red on my connection.
I don't have anything else on. Okay, wait, I think it's starting to stabilize. Okay. That was weird. Yeah, Gordo, Epic is buying Shark out as we speak. But yeah, what were you saying? Uh-oh. Do we lose him again? Are you still there, Shark? Uh-oh. Alright. No. 1 second. Let's try this again. Oh no, Epic has heard us and they're coming for us.
Hello?
Yep, can you hear me?
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. Okay, so what were you saying?
I don't even remember now.
We were talking about how much things have changed and...
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right. So, like, YouTube and game development is kind of running into very much the same issue of supply and demand.
Mm-hmm.
To where, like, now everybody's YouTubing and there's all the supply out there and there's not enough demand to meet it to grow the creators. But the big difference is that YouTube is free. Games are not necessarily free. There's some that are free, but not necessarily free, so most of them are not.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the one big advantage that YouTube has over that. And also, a YouTube video is normally anywhere between 2 minutes and 20 minutes. There are some that go over.
Mm-hmm.
But generally, as an average, that's probably pretty much there, 2 to 20 minutes kind of thing. And when you look at games are usually at a minimum of 2+ hours because of the Steam return policy. And usually they're 40, 20, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 hours kind of thing. And when you have one product that has a paywall gate and then you spend 10 to 50 hours on it versus a YouTube video that doesn't have a paywall gate that only takes 10 to 20 minutes. I mean, you can support a lot more YouTubers than you can video games.
Yeah. And don't forget the fact that many of the YouTubers are, positioning themselves as, the influencers of the game industry. That the only way your game will sell is if you come talk to us or you deal with us.
Mm-hmm. And then a lot of them want obscene amounts of money to play your game.
Yeah. But yeah, going back to your analogy earlier regarding, the snowball versus just a few flakes of snow. Again, it's that same element of, like, 5-10 years ago, there really wasn't, like, a huge indie game market, just that there really wasn't a huge YouTube market. And like you said, like, pretty much the prerequisite for success on Steam, like, 8 or 9 years ago, was have a game on Steam. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
You literally just had to have your game on Steam, and it was going to make bank. But
and same thing goes for YouTube. You had a video on there, you were going to succeed.
Yep. And that momentum helped build up those people. Like, again, like, I try to watch a lot of the middle to bigger YouTube game channels, and it just doesn't interest me at all. Like, nothing they do makes me want to watch them. But they're big because they've been around for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And the sad part is we could say similar things to some of the indie games that are doing well on Steam, like the ones that got on, like 2009, 2010. Like, we've played a few of them, and they're still very rough. They have like the same roughness in design that we're seeing from many indie games today. But again, they still did well because there weren't other games available back in 2009, 2010.
Yeah. It's just a whole big issue just with all of it.
Yep. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we'll talk about reviewers and influencers. Again, we keep moving to our next topic, and we're still on this one. But let's wrap up talking about the Epic Games Store, and then we'll do weird games, and then we have certainly a lengthy talk about reviewers and influencers. So, I guess final thoughts about Epic for right now. It definitely seems like, at least from my point of view, that, and as you said, Shark, they rushed into things with getting the store up. Again, and it was like 1 week there was no Epic Games Store, And then the week of the Video Game Awards, the Epic Game Store is here, and we're getting all these games. But this is one of the big things that we've talked about many times over when it comes to why Valve has succeeded. Is that the reason why Steam is still popular, or why it continues to be popular, is all the quality of life features that have been built in and over the many, again, I think it's been, 15 years since the original Steam came out at this point. So when you're competing with Steam, you are competing with a product that's 15 years old. And this is the same issue that Uplay and Origin, and we could even argue GOG ran into. That having a digital store doesn't magically make you a competitor. It's the same analogy with the MMO market. Again, if you're going to compete with World of Warcraft, you can't compete with a game that's had over 14, 15 years of development with a game that's only been out for 2. So you have to do something different, and you need to at least cover your base in terms of the basic features. Like we said, the Epic Game Store from a consumer standpoint just sucks right now. There's no, integrated game chat, no achievements, the cart is not, or the storefront is lacking. So why should someone switch to this? And Epic still hasn't, gotten around to that answer. Again, they're just throwing money at it. But while developers will come, and I think Oscar or Alberto said this earlier, that it's going to be very interesting to see in a year's time how much these exclusive games actually earned, especially comparing the AAA ones from the indies. But I don't know, we're waiting for that mythical patch from Epic, and I don't know if we're going to get it.
Yeah, the thing about Epic Games is first off with their sell is they did that all wrong. There's a few ways they could have done it better, and that would be give developers a opportunity to opt into the sale, and make it up to $10, not just $10. So if they don't want to discount their game by $10 down to $5, if it's a $15 game, maybe they could do the $5 or $1 or $8 or whatever they want to do, and give them that choice kind of thing, and make it up to $10 off kind of thing at the developer's discretion, and and let them do zero as well, and let them not be able to participate. And if they did it that way, that would have solved a lot of the issues. Another way to do it, though, that the developers pretty much wouldn't even need to be informed of, is say that everybody who buys a game between this date, there is, let's say they give out coupons, basically, that anybody with an Epic Store account, or anyone who makes it during this time frame, will get 3 coupons that will be $10 off any game that is $15 or more, and on their storefront. And if they did this, then they wouldn't have to worry about devaluing the game. They wouldn't have to worry about games participating. They wouldn't have to do any of this stuff, because it would just be on an individual basis. The customers get to pick where they want to use that coupon at, basically.
Yeah.
And then have the coupons expire at the basically end of the sale kind of thing.
And again, Epic is taking the $10 hit purposely to get people to spend the money. And on one hand, that is a noble gesture. But again, though, you have to tell, the developers about this. And it kind of surprises you when all of a sudden you find that your game is $10 cheaper and you didn't approve it.
Yeah, and from what I understand is a lot of people, and I may be wrong on this, but this is just the understanding from look at their pages and then seeing that the price was low. Am I breaking up?
No, you're good. It kind of covered a split second.
Okay. but developers seem to not even know and just look at their store page, and all of a sudden their $15 game is now going for $5, and they're like, "What the heck?" And then they raise the price up by $10.
Mm-hmm. Like Hades ran into that problem too, I heard.
Well, from what I understand about the Hades, they might have actually known what was going on. They might have been taking advantage of it, but I don't actually know. But that's what stuff is pointing towards. But like, I mean, there's those people too, but which we don't know if Hades is one of those people or not. But it's pointing that way. Mm-hmm. But in the end, you can't blame me for that either, because it's free money for them, and you know. It's just a whole mess, and like, it's not only like a mess from the Epic side that's raining down onto the developer side, but then the developer side is raining back onto the Epic side, and then there's the fact of if you had a $15 game, a $15 game, and you had a sale that was 5% off, so your game was going for, I don't know what 5% off, like $14.39 or whatever, it would no longer apply for the $10 off discount from Epic, so they didn't get that discount because they were 5% off. Yep. And that's pretty crap as well. And there's all these factors that just roll into just this huge bad thing.
Yep. And like we said, it's going to be very interesting to see at the end of the year what these games are going to be doing on Epic Games Store and how many of them will stay on. And I guess as another point, how many will continue to have exclusivity deals with Epic Games.
Yeah. Now, I would not want to be releasing a game right now. I would not want to be releasing a game from basically the last, I think, like 6 months, basically. we got Chrome Asia out right before the storm happened, kind of thing, and I'm so glad. Although I wish we'd changed our release date just a little bit, but the storm now, it's like very chaotic, and it's more chaotic and random to seceding now than it was before. And it's a really difficult position to be in if you're wanting to release a game now or probably within the next year or two.
Unless you're already an established developer, then again, like, that doesn't really apply to you.
Well, it does to a point if you sign an exclusive with Epic, because that can backfire. I mean, the question is, how much can it backfire, though? And that's something we'll have to wait and see, because, like, if like you said, Phoenix Point comes out and they go out and, you know, release their game at full price on Steam after that year, and they step on that landmine, how much damage is that landmine going to do to them? I mean, it could do literally basically nothing, or it could be catastrophe to where the development studio shuts down. And there's no evidence. We have no figures to go off of to find out how much of an explosion that's going to be on them.
Until it actually happens.
Yeah, and we also don't know how well Phoenix Point is going to sell during that year on Epic, because that will definitely be a factor. Because, I mean, if they sell really well on Epic, then it doesn't matter how much the mine hits them when they go to Steam. But if their Epic sales are really low, and then they go to Steam, and then that mine is really big, then they may just go out of business after that.
Yeah. But again, we won't know until it unfortunately happens, one way or the other.
Yep, there's way too many unknowns, but there's definitely the potential that they could basically be unaffected, and there's also the potential that they could go out of business. So it's very much a inverse bell curve almost. Like anything in the middle is very unlikely to happen, and the two most extremes are very likely to happen.
Yep.
And we'll just have to wait and see
Yep.
what happens.
Mm-hmm. All right, but I guess moving on then, we'll do a quick weird games, and then we have one final topic that I'm sure who knows how long that will take to get through. But let me switch things back here. So the first game, this is one that Shark brought up, definitely in the weird category. Social Justice Warriors, the video game. Now this is from 2014, so it is on the old side. But yeah, for $8, you get this.
I didn't even know it was that old.
Yep. It did get reviewed in IGN, though.
Yeah.
So this is where I guess that meme for like the various social justice classes came out.
I hadn't heard that one.
About, I'm a social justice bard, or I'm a social justice whatever. I wonder if this is the game that started that. Or did this come from that meme? I don't know.
It could be either way. I hadn't heard that one, though.
Yeah. But yeah, $8 for this. Eek. And we were
mean, it looks like it could be funny, but I wouldn't say it would be $8 funny.
Mm-hmm. I don't even think I want to read those reviews. I may be risking things here.
Yeah, I read the reviews, and a lot of the reviews were complaining about the price of $8.
Okay. All right.
Let's see.
So
General consensus I got.
So
pretty much
this,
the same thing I said. Yeah.
So this is like the first thing that came up on Keymailer, and I have no idea what this gameplay is.
It looks kind of like a board game from what I'm seeing.
Yeah. But I don't know. Like, the description tells me absolutely nothing. You get a thrilling main quest and a bonus chapter. But yeah, I have no idea what this gameplay loop is. Is this
it looks interesting.
Is it like a time management game like The Adventures of Hercules? Is it like a board game?
I don't know what it is. The board game is my best guess, but
I'm seeing resources up here though. Like, it's a great mystery here.
You might have to get a key to that one and see what it is. I mean, it looks like it could be interesting, but who knows until you play it, because there's just not any kind of information there.
So this is a retro pixel style arcade game. It looks okay, but like we said, it looks like again like one of those games that I don't know if it's good enough for today's market. Like, it says it's promoted as a coffee break game here, but are those games really, in demand right now?
No games are in demand right now. That's kind of the issue.
Mm-hmm.
Since they're in oversupply.
Let's see.
Sadly, that one will probably not succeed. Even if it's great. I mean, it might, but odds are definitely against it.
Wait. So, like, it's called Super Welder, but I don't understand what this has to do with welding.
Yeah, I don't either.
Oh.
Apparently this is inside of an arc welder from what I've seen there.
Okay, then. I thought we were going to, like, weld stuff together and, like, do crazy stuff like that.
And apparently doing surgery from within the welder. From what it seemed.
City Skylines is getting some more DLC. Most Correct Football Simulator. Is it like that totally accurate Battlegrounds game?
Uh, Probably. Yeah, it looks like it. I
Mm-hmm.
wonder if that's the same developer,
And it's
or if that's somebody
European
trying to.
football, not American football, too.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's not the original, the developer of the, what is it, Tabs or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Fort Sumter. Okay. Well, it looks like this is a. Wait. It's a car driven game set in the Civil War. Huh.
Look at some of the
Looks.
screenshots.
Looks interesting, but I have no. That is like so out of my wheelhouse when it comes to the games I've played. I know this
Yeah,
Play Deck. I know they're pretty reputable. I think at this point, or at least I've heard their name many times.
yeah, that seems like another board game.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like a board game that one of the new kind of board games, but done in video game format.
Mm.
Maybe it is a board game that they've, imported basically into a video game.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know that's been a thing too.
Well, there's Vision Superstar X. And yeah, well, I do want to play the full version of that, so it looks like it's going to be out in a few days. Team Sonic Racing. Again, the last one was such a surprise. I've been hearing good things about this one, at least from the gameplay standpoint.
Was I heard, I didn't hear anything good about that one. Do you heard a lot of things good from that one?
Not the first one. It would be the second one. Sonic and All-Star Racing Transformed.
No, I hadn't even heard about the second one at all.
Yeah. I don't know if Sumo Digital did the first one, but they definitely did the second one. And that one turned out to be fairly favorable. Especially since there's not too many kart racing games on the PC.
Yeah.
Mechanic Miner.
That one looks interesting. I have seen lots of YouTube videos on that.
Huh.
I have it on my wish list. It's kind of a builder crafting where you build your own machine and try to survive, basically.
Reminds me of that game that I looked at like a few months ago. It's like kind of like a steampunk. You build, you put everything together, kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely got the steampunk vibe, and it's got automation and everything in there and stuff. It reminds me of a bit of Oxygen Not Included.
Okay.
But instead of building a base underground, you're building a vehicle and harvesting, trying to get your spaceship repaired, kind of thing.
Looks interesting.
Yeah, it does.
Alright. Well, I'll add to the list. We'll see if I can get it. Dumb Little
I have
Creatures. That's a good name.
I wonder if that's a spin-off of Pokemon.
Let's see. Is this like a Lemmings kind of game? You have to learn to think in 3D. Uh-oh. Yeah, this looks like Lemmings to me a little bit. Give them like the different characters. I'm surprised we haven't seen Lemmings make a resurgence.
Oh, I loved Lemmings when I was when I was young.
New Total War game is due out. I've been hearing decent things about it. But I've never been like a Total War fan. I know Thorn, if he's watching, he's a huge Total War buff. Pathologic 2 is being re-released. That's one of those games that I heard so much about, but I've never played it.
I hadn't heard anything about it.
It's from the developers who did, oh no, what was it? Was it Lights Out? That very weird game. Like, they did The Void, too. Like, their whole studio is, like, crazy game ideas. Clan Man. Alright, what is that? What the? Clan Man is the story of the Clan Man. Well, that's good.
It's intriguing. Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, has an anime fight scene, too. And a duck. It's a point and click there. Okay, now that's a good marketing plug right there. Don't say you made the Clan Man. Don't pirate. I will say they got the marketing down, at least on that one. Zombies in City.
That one kind of looks
Dollhouse.
like an asset flip, but it could not be.
Kind of afraid to click on that one. Presidential Dating Simulator. Okay. Fatty Space. Who are you, Mr. Cooper? What? Okay. I don't know what this gameplay is, though. You're building stuff. Is that tic-tac-toe? I don't know.
That's weird.
Another game that I have like no idea what it's about. Oh,
Yep.
Homeless Simulator 2. I didn't know there was a first one.
Yeah, there was.
Uh,
But if I remember right, that's still in early access.
Deep Diving Simulator. Alright. But let's do one quick check on Call of Fries. I go for some fries right about now. But one quick check on each aisle, and then we'll get to our final topic. Alright. Now we get to the really weird. What? Okay, I don't think that's a game.
That's what you're going to run into a lot when you go to that itch.io.
Yeah. Eat them all.
And here goes back to the point of storefronts kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Is, we talked about curation and everything, and what if people had a platform where they could load up their games and it didn't have to be on Steam? I mean, they already have that. It's itch.io, and what they do is not only do they put it on itch.io, but they also put it on Steam.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you give them a specific platform where you can post whatever you want on there, basically, it's not going to cause bad stuff to disappear from Steam. They're just going to post it in both.
Oh my god.
But a lot of the asset flippers, anyway, they post on Steam because they make money on Steam. They wouldn't make money here because there's no achievements here, no monetary systems, because there's no trading cards. Because what happens on trading cards is on Steam is you don't make money from people earning trading cards. Where you own them, where you make money at is when they sell trading cards. When they buy and selling trading cards, the developers get a percentage of that. So if you have like 500 trading cards and they go for a penny a piece, and people trade hundreds and hundreds of them, then you made like $3 per person off of a lot of people that played the game because they just got the game for the trading cards to begin with. So then you make the 99 cents or whatever you sell the game for, and then you make like another $2 or $3 worth of cards, and then you've got like $4 off of a game, off of everybody who bought your game, or a lot of people that bought your game anyway, and it took you less than a day to make.
And
probably less than an hour to make.
And I think some of these games could fall into that category right here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Although they won't make money on here, though.
nope.
They would make money on Steam, but Steam Direct put a stop to that to a point because you don't get trading cards unless you sell a lot of copies now.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, is the asset flippers already had like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pre-bought slots for games because they've literally bought enough. They've literally made enough money that they can buy thousands of slots. Which would you take 1,000 and you multiply that by $100. They've made a lot of money.
Yep. And again, it's that case of if you already were doing it, you've made enough money. You made tons of money. If you're trying to do it now, that market has completely dried up, or it's almost impossible for you to do that.
Yeah, and if you already was doing it and you had all those slots saved, then you're good to do it until you run out of slots.
Yep. But yeah, like look at these games are just like there's nothing here that would make me want to play these games. Not by these descriptions or the thumbnail, and like this is the problem with each eye. Like we talked about Cultist Simulator, Descenders, and a few other games that were on itch. Like ultimately, like people say that itch. Like I've seen like developers. I know Alexis Kennedy said that they made a lot of money on itch, like or a lot of interest. But again, like what would have been like if they were on Steam first? Like what would be the difference? And we'll never know in terms of how much recognition Cultist Simulator will have gotten.
Well, from what I've been told from Descenders in their GDC talk, is what the main thing itch helped them with was forming a community, building up a Discord, and getting testers to test their game.
Is it even still on itch? I'm not seeing it pop up.
I have no idea.
I wonder if Cultist Simulator is still on.
They may have deleted it after a certain point.
Well, Cultist Simulator is still on.
But basically what they said is they put it on itch.io and brought in a bunch of people into their Discord, formed a community, and in that community they had everybody testing basically. So they had a huge testing team to find everything, and then once the way they said it, they didn't specifically say this, but it could explain the game not being on there, is basically they revoked all the keys right before launch, and then they launched on Steam, and then everybody bought it on Steam. So it could have potentially been a free game on itch.io if you join the Discord kind of thing. If you join the Discord, you got it for free. And then after you join the Discord, then you get it for free, get the test, and then they take away your key. And then when they release, they had tons of people buying the game that already had the game basically, rebuying it or getting, because they had their keys taken away, their free keys. And then they got all the reviews right off the bat, and they were all positive basically because they were people who already had tons of experience with the game and loved the game. So, I mean, and then that gave them the boost on Steam to begin with and got the Steam algorithm to pick them up, which helped them, steamroll it through. I'm not sure of their whole methods, but that's what they talked about on Steam or on GDC.
Yeah. All right, but let's get to our final topic because we are over an hour in so far, and that is bringing back up the discussion about getting your game in front of reviewers, influencers, streamers, whatever you want to call them. I guess I fit that bill now, so I guess I shouldn't be Should I be biting the hand that feeds me too much, Shark? I know, I just asked a shark that question, too.
I think it's fine. I mean, a lot of YouTubers criticize YouTube, so I mean, it's in the nature to bite the hand that feeds you in YouTube.
Hmm. Well, again, we'll hope that Disney buys me out before the end of the stream is over. We'll see.
Are you sure they haven't already?
I haven't got any emails yet. We'll see. But the other topic we wanted to talk about is, again, the kind of the growing or the culture that has grown around influencers, streamers, and YouTubers with regards to how much of a gatekeeper they are when it comes to in the game industry, and especially for independent developers trying to get their game notice. And again, like, as we've talked about before, it's a very weird issue. Like, especially for someone like me, like, I've been covering video games since 2012, and that was before I got on YouTube. And there has been a huge market and big business around covering video games for a living. Now, I'll talk about my own thoughts on this, but I want to get your thoughts on this, Shar. Again, as an independent developer and as somebody who has, done the song and dance of trying to get people to cover your game.
Mm-hmm. All right, so you want to start with your side first?
Let's start with you first.
Okay, from my side, getting YouTubers and other content creators, Twitch streamers, and stuff to notice you. That has been a very unsuccessful path on my side, because I've gotten a few videos made, but not very many. And basically, the ones that, like I said, I did my research and everything. I found creators that all had 100 plus views average on their videos. Mm-hmm. And after I found them, that also did, with Chromasia, with it's our tactical RPG. So I was looking for people who streamed anything that does with tactical RPGs or RPGs as a total, or just indie games as a total. And once I have those two lists and, kind of smush them down, kind of thing into one list to where they meet both criteria, I started emailing them. And I didn't do a mass email because that's a no-no. That is a no-no that will not get you very far. If you mass email 500 YouTubers at once, then you're not going to get any kind of response, pretty much. So I individually emailed each one of them. I did a lot of copy and pasting, but then I did do some little bit special on each one of them. But after all that, I emailed all of them. I got 0 replies. None of them even replied to my email. A few of them had Discord links, and I joined Discords, and then I talked to the creators there through private messages. Mm-hmm. And there I had a lot more luck. Although most of them didn't have Discord links. I think it was only like maybe 1% had Discord links that you could join without being a Patreon. And, that's a whole nother nest egg of stuff. Mm-hmm. But when I joined and talked to them in private messages, I always got a response at that point. But the question is, what response? I got responses of, yeah, we'll be glad to cover it. Just send us a key. Which was very few, but did get some of those. I've gotten responses to where, yeah, give us $100, $1,000, $2,000, $18,000, $30 million, and we'll cover your game. I've gotten, yeah, sign up with my Patreon, and we'll cover your game. And then didn't cover the game. And there was several others that wanted money to cover the game, or wanted this or wanted that to cover the game, and then you give them that, and then they still don't cover the game. And then there was the like one wanted a Twitch subscription kind of thing. And
Or I'm sure a few of them wanted like multiple keys for a giveaway as well.
yeah, well, you didn't really have that really much on YouTube, but when you got to people who were doing Steam reviews or Steam curators, that's where they asked for a lot of keys. All of them asked for multiple keys. I didn't really encounter that much on YouTube. I think I encountered that once or twice, and the one that comes to mind like that did actually make a video, and he only asked for 2 keys, one for him and one for his wife. And but on the Steam curator section, all of them asked for like 5 keys, 6 keys, 8 keys, whatever. And out of all the people, all the curators that got a key, which I think was something like about 50-ish of them, only one of them actually did a review on it. Only one of them actually did any kind of coverage. And the thing is Steam has a thing where you can revoke keys if you just have to know the key number. But if you give them out through the curator program, which I thought was going to be the safer way to do it, it's actually the more dangerous way to do it. You're not going to get that key thing, and you're not going to be able to revoke the key. So those keys just instantly, fly probably onto the black market or whatever, because I'm pretty sure that's what a lot of curators do with their keys, unless they're specifically interested in that game. And yeah, I mean, it's really, really kind of dirty there. And I would suggest that if any developers out there want to send keys to anybody, make sure you send them the key code and write down a name of who it is right beside it, so that if for any reason you need to revoke that key, it's there for you to revoke. Don't use the Steam Curator program. You can talk to the curators through the Steam Curator program, but do not send them a key through there. Send them a key through email or whatever. Do some kind of text key so that you have control over that. So that if your key goes on the black market, if they, they're dirty or whatever, you can get rid of those keys. That would be my suggestion on that.
Yeah. And like one thing that I want to point out, that we've seen like a lot of YouTubers like attacking developers when that case came up. I know a few like the middle to bigger ones had made videos saying, "Oh, so and so revoked a key, so they're an evil developer," or stuff like that.
Yeah, I've had I haven't seen that, but I would totally believe that that's a thing, because like everything I've seen, I said YouTubers request my keys just so they can attack the game to begin with, and so one of them was supposedly a friend before that, but of course he wasn't a friend. He was just pretending to get a key, and the revoking of keys is there for a reason. Is what I would say.
Yeah.
There are people who misuse it. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know if there's any way that you can really solve that issue with corrupt developers taking away keys versus legit developers taking keys away for legit reasons. The way I did it, and this may not be the best way. As a matter of fact, I probably can pretty much tell you it's not the best way, but this is what I did with Chrome Ajax keys. Was if I gave them a key to make content with, and they did not make a key within, I think, or make a video within, I think it was like 3 months or so. I took away the key.
Mm-hmm.
If they did make a video, they kept the key, no matter what kind of feedback they gave. And I've definitely had some like bad feedback. The only exception to that is one who purposely went out of his way to make the game look bad. And that exception only got I only took away his key after the game went off of Steam. Mm-hmm. Because I knew that with him, he would buy a key just so he could leave another review bashing on me that would actually affect my review score. Where his review right now on there does not affect my review score because it was a free key. And free keys on Steam do not affect the review score, which is kind of sad in a way because like all Kickstarter keys and all those are counted as free keys. And
it almost seems like when I think about that, it almost seems like it would have been better, like, instead of giving like someone like the Steam key, literally just to give them like $10 or $15 and say, here, go buy the game. I'm giving you the money for the free copy, and go like that. But then, of course, then you're giving away, or you're using up the money that you got from the development or from the Kickstarter for it.
Yeah. And at the same time, is a Kickstarter often lets you buy the game at a cheaper rate.
Yeah. And don't forget the Kickstarter fees as well, when like PayPal fees on top of that.
And then when you go to buy the key, even if the price was the same, even if it was $15 for a $15 game that's coming out, even if you didn't count the Kickstarter fees and they just gave it to you free, you still got the 30% from Steam coming out. Mm-hmm. So it's just a big loss of money. You just lose more. You would just lose basically all the money at that point.
Mm-hmm. And like, as you said, like when it comes to like dealing with YouTubers and people like that, they have a lot of control over these games. And like we've said before, it's a very weird situation because we've seen developers like beg for review scores for their games just so that they get, the Steam algorithm picks them up. But then we've seen YouTubers, as you said, like they will make attack videos, or they'll buy a game just literally just to make like a stupid video about the game that doesn't help anyone or may hurt the game in the process.
Yep. And then they want, and then there's the YouTubers that want money to do that. Mm-hmm. And there's no telling if those YouTubers will do your game favorably. And then there's also the other dilemma to, once you pay them, I mean, at that point they're biased.
Yeah.
The question is were they biased before that and already going to make a crap video about you, and then they just took you for more money, or if they took you for the more money and they're making a false opinion about your game? And in my opinion, like there's no good way to do it, because if you're accepting money for a free key, then you've lost your bias. Mm-hmm. I mean, you already kind of lose some of your bias when you somewhat, well, not lose your bias, become biased just from getting a free key, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. But when you're getting paid for it, it kind of becomes a bad thing because you're losing your objectivity a lot more. I mean, free keys, I mean, you can get free keys on Steam and whatnot from different promotions here and there. So, I mean, that's not a big thing. You just have to take in consideration that this game costs $15 or this game costs $8 or whatever. Is this game worth that kind of money? Kind of thing. But when you're getting paid $1,000 and getting a free key on top of it, where's the? Can you be objective at that point?
Yeah. Like when I was trying to at least earn a little bit extra money, I was like saying like $10. Like that was going to be like my high mark to look at a game on YouTube channel. Like I can't imagine like asking someone, give me $1,000 and I'll review your game objectively.
Yeah.
And like we see this like when we get to like some of the bigger YouTubers who get flown out to events and cover games and stuff like that, and objectivity gets thrown out the window at that point.
Yep. And at that point, there is no objectivity. They are just another arm of the marketing team at that point.
Mm-hmm. And like
which is not a bad thing for developers.
Mm-hmm.
It can very much be a bad thing for consumers if it's not a good game. But I mean, if it is a good game, then it's not bad for consumers. But
and like I think it's making a lot of fake publicity. I think that's out there. Like for those of you who don't know, there are tons and tons of mobile games that will buy YouTubers and streamers to do like an advertisement for them. They're basically, it's the same thing that what was it, G2A did when they were like getting like advertisers like big name YouTubers and streamers. Said they're basically siphoning off their legitimacy for their own game. Like I've seen like when I was playing a few of like the mobile games that force you to watch ads, I see these ads of like YouTubers going like, "Oh my god, this is an amazing game! I can't believe this is all happening." And like the footage is completely fake. Like that's like the whole point there.
Yeah, and some of them say they've been playing the game forever, and you won't ever find them in that game.
Mm-hmm. Or they receive like $1,000 of free in-game currency, and they're now just like massively overleveled.
Yeah.
And like and again, like it's that issue of who's legitimate and who's not. But then even when you get past that, is this person the right one to look at your game? Like I remember there was either a Gama Sutra or somebody wrote this article about how they gave this a female streamer like a copy of their game and she played it and like she was horrible at it. Like she basically just took the money and took the key just to have something to play, but like it did nothing for that developer.
Yeah, and the thing is even with exposure, which is what YouTubers are, the exposure, which is just one part of marketing. But the thing is even with that, no matter how much exposure you get, it doesn't necessarily lead to sales.
Yeah,
because number one, you have to accumulate how many people are actually watching it, number one, how many views there are, basically. And then out of those, how many are willing to, roughly, on average, 1 out of 100 are willing to wish list the game. But out of those wish lists, how many will actually buy your game? Because I know this firsthand from Chromasia. We had, like, roughly 1,000 wish lists before the game released. Right? And according to all the other developers, is basically you take your wish list and you multiply it by 2, and that's how many copies you sell in the first week. Because generally the wish listers pick it up when the game launches, and then those trigger the algorithm to sell twice as many as that. So by that, we should have sold 1,000 copies on week 1, but then we sold 7. So even wish does not translate into sales.
I just don't see that. Like at least from like my own standpoint, like the games that I wish list just to either remember them or to wait for a sale on them. Like I don't wish list games so that I know when they're out day one I'm going to buy them. Like as a consumer, and this is a question for the people watching this as well. Like, does your wish list matter to you in that regard? Like, do you put games on your wish list with that explicit intent that when this game is out, I'm buying it day one? Or do you just keep it as a reminder for games like if they're on sale or, just to like have kind of thing?
With myself personally, I do a bit of both. Mm-hmm. I put any game that hasn't come out yet that I'm interested in, I put it on my wish list. And then when it comes out, I watch reviews and everything, and if it's still something I'm interested in, then I buy it on day one. If it's not, then it either stays on my wish list waiting for a sale, or it stays on or I just delete it from my wish list. Like Swag and Sorcery was on my wish list, and after you played it and everything, it got deleted from my wish list. But if it would have been a favorable kind of thing, if it looked really good when you played it, then I would have bought that day one. But it didn't, and that's one of the ones that got removed from my wish list. At the same time, if it was all right but not great, it would have probably stayed on my wish list, and at some point when it went into deep enough discount, I would have bought it, kind of thing.
Yeah, and that's what my wish list is basically used for, is just for like deep discounts of games. But again, keep in mind that whenever I talk about my own buying habits and stuff, I'm not the general consumer. So, if for any developers watching this, do not take my word as law here when it comes to how a consumer buys games.
Yeah, and what Malwinus said, if you want to support the developer, how do you know you want to support the developer if it's a new developer, is the question.
Yeah.
And with Chrome Asia, it was our first game that we released, and how would you know that you wanted to support us, kind of thing?
Yeah. And again, it's that very sticky situation when it comes to developers reaching out to influencers. Like, again, like, it's one of those very weird things. Like, even for myself, like, I don't consider myself to be, above anyone because I have 4,000 subscribers. And I don't know, I don't think I'm going to get that same mindset when I get to 10,000, or, maybe that one day I'll have 1 million subscribers, right? You guys all heard it here first. But, like, again, like, the business of YouTube and the business of streaming has been a very weird impact on development. And, like, I still remember, like, this is one of, like, the funniest things. If you saw E3, I think this was last E3 show, when EA invited like big name YouTubers and streamers to be on stage, a lot of them were just horrible on stage. I think they got I think she was either a streamer or a YouTuber. Like, everybody who they got from YouTube or Twitch to kind of come up on there, like, they were just horrible on stage from what I saw. And
I think they were pretty much all YouTubers.
Yeah.
With edited content, and you can't. They can edit out the awkwardness on YouTube, but they can't on a live event on stage.
No, they can't. And, like, it's that very weird thing about... Yeah, and, like, that's that... Like, the thing, like, the people who are famous for doing this stuff... Again, I don't put much stock in their abilities or in how well they can react. And it's one of those things like here. Like, we're having this conversation, Shark and I, and, like, it's like we're not having, like, well, hopefully we're not having too many awkward pauses or, like, we're being energetic. And I think that's one of those, again, like, I could have a whole discussion about this. But, filming yourself and doing 30 takes in front of a camera is not the same as having a coherent conversation, whether it's 5 minutes long, an hour long, 2 hours long, however long you think it is. And, like, again, this is, I think, why I don't put too much stock in a lot of people who cover games on YouTube. Like, you'll see them, like, they'll edit, like, 37 times in, like, a 5-minute long video. And it's like, if you can't even keep a coherent thought for 5 minutes, why should I even, assume you're good at playing games or being able to talk eloquently about it?
Yeah, that's really the difference between like a YouTuber and a streamer kind of thing, or an edited video versus a edited content versus a live content kind of thing. And as for what you said about when you get bigger subscribers and everything, I hope that you never go down that bad road, because the thing is what the saying is, absolute power corrupts absolutely, and as you get more and more subscribers, you're going to get more and more power, and that's and hopefully as our games become more and more successful, we're going to get more and more power because of that. And if I'm very cautious about going down that bad road. It's like I try to surround myself with people who will instantly call me out for anything bad I do, so that if I even slightly start down that road, they're like, don't, nope.
Well, I got you guys here and on Discord to call me out. I know you guys are more than willing to do that. But yeah, the second the Disney money comes in, we're selling out completely. I think we all know that for sure. Saying that right now. The second Disney buys Game Wisdom, it's all going downhill from there. I'm taking my money, I'm buying that private island I've always wanted right there. Game Wisdom's private island. I know, the Game Wisdom Disney Resort and Island adventure. There, that'll be the next thing.
Well, what you can do is after you sell out to Disney, just sell them Game Wisdom, right? And then you leave with all your money.
Yeah.
And start, Josh Wisdom.
Yeah.
And then you'll have like all of the production quality.
There we go. And just got I just have to be out of the country so Disney won't find me, so the corporate lawyers won't be able to track me.
Or just make it in the contract that you can leave and do your own thing. Or at least maybe after a certain date, maybe you have to stay for a year or something.
But getting back to the topic, like with regards to the difference between a YouTuber and a streamer. Like the problem with trying to get in touch with streamers is that for them it's even more of a influencer. There we go. Let me put that on the next business card right there. But the problem with getting in touch with streamers is that for them, I guess here's a question for you, Char, and for the audience as well. Who do you think has more of like a job mentality, the YouTuber or the streamer, when it comes to what they do?
I would say the developer definitely has more of a job mindset, but the creators seem to have more of a money-based thing, because developers are interested in, for the most part, I mean, there are greedy developers out there, but like for the most part, developers want to make their dream a reality, basically, and let other people experience it. Where creators want to make money, and that's a lot of part. That's all there is to it. There's nothing there besides I'm going to do this thing so I can make money. I mean, there's definitely some people that do it for the love of it, but
finding them is very hard.
Yeah, I mean, like there's people who do it for the money, and there's people who do it for the love of doing it. But when you get that both in game development and in YouTube, but you get more for the love of it in development and less of it in the YouTube, and then you get more of the money and greed in YouTube and less of that in game development. Despite all the loot boxes and everything, which is actually surprising that is less. But that is really just some exceptions to the rule that just blindingly stand out because of how bad they are. It's like the pimple on the front of your nose. I mean, nobody's going to notice the 500 on your back, but the one on your nose, everybody's going to notice it.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen like streamers, like I've seen people do all the drama videos about streamers who refuse to play a game, or they'll refuse to do something unless more people subscribe, or they'll hold their stream ransom and stuff like that. And the problem, I think, with trying to get to streamers, like as you said, like the majority of them, or the ones that we've always seen, are in it for the money. Like we said the last time, like, do you think Dr. Disrespect or Ninja, or again, those are the only two big name streamers I know, would they play a small time indie game? Or are they going to play whatever is popular, or more importantly, whatever game a developer is giving them, hundreds of thousands of dollars at this point to do like a 2 to 5. No, I'm sorry, it's probably more like a 8 to 10 hour long stream.
Yeah, I mean, Ninja, I've heard good things about him, but the fact is the YouTube algorithm is what causes a lot of this, because the YouTube algorithm forces them to play something popular, or else they won't be popular, which means their career ends.
Yep.
And even if you want to play something good or anything, that YouTube will punish you for doing it. And that is the issue of YouTube, that just compiles on top of everything else. So that, you know, and the same issue runs with Twitch, because if you're not streaming something popular, then you're not going to be able to get the views. If you don't get the views, then you're not going to get the money.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, you know, the key thing, at least on Twitch, is being at the top of the list, which you will only be at the top of the list if you have the most viewers in that game.
Yep.
So it's one of those things where you almost want to start with a smaller game and build up your views till you're at the top of that one, and then jump to a different game that's a bigger fan base and build up with a similar genre kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And build up your views, and then do that over and over. Because if you start like in Fortnite, there's billions of streamers in there, and you're going to be on page 5,062,000, and nobody will ever find you. You will be streaming alone forever.
I think I know what that's like too. And yet, but then the other side is, if you play a game that nobody's ever heard of, you may be the top of that list, but how many people are actually going to be searching for that game?
Yeah. And that's where Twitch has sort of addressed that issue with concepts and demos and specific dev streams and stuff. Mm-hmm. But it's not really that much of a solution.
Yeah.
I mean, I would think a real solution would be going back to what they had before, where they actually list the streams randomly instead of by viewers. But they want it by viewers so that way their Twitch partners get front space. And when Twitch partners get front space, they make the most money, which makes the most money for Twitch. Mm-hmm. Where these others just run up bandwidth because they're not monetizing them for the most part.
Mm-hmm. And the problem, though, I think ultimately comes down to, of course, money. That you need money to be able to do this. Let's face it. For myself, I of course need money as well to be able to live off of and be able to do this. If I don't get money and I stop, it all goes away. But as you said, there's that point where it becomes a issue of, if I'm earning $300,000 to $500,000 a month doing streaming and doing YouTube and all that, you know, as you said, absolute power corrupts absolutely at that kind of situation.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I think what I call it, what I like to refer to it is idle games in real life. Mm-hmm. To where once you get enough money to survive, it's like, how much more money can I get? You know, how many more times can I click? How long more can I idle and get more money? And then you're just collecting money for the sake of collecting money at that point.
Yep.
And you're just trying to get all the money, and then all these people are trying to fight to get all the money, and then that's how we get the top 1%. Mm-hmm. And now it's, you know, just a top score of who gets the most money and holds on to it stingily while everybody else suffers.
Yeah. And going back to Algora's point about the clickbait stuff, that's another trap that many developers fall into. That the people that are making these videos, again, we could sit here and name them and we'll probably get in trouble, but I think most of you know who they are already. Those people are popular, but in the same breath, do you really want them playing your game? And if you don't know about them and you get them to play their game, like, are they actually going to help you or are they going to hurt you in the long run?
Yeah, the issue is that YouTube is full of drama YouTubers,
Mm-hmm.
and you need to be, I would say, more than wary about giving your game to any drama YouTuber.
Mm-hmm.
And drama YouTubers has like more outreaching space than I thought they did, because at first I thought they were just people who were just solely about drama and nothing else. But they're not. I ran into that situation personally. They're people who are fighting for consumer rights that are drama YouTubers, where they seem legit up front, like, you know, like they're fighting asset flips. They don't want asset flips on the store, and they want to get rid of all those things and everything. But then they turn around and just purposely shit on a good game.
Yeah.
And for the fact of drama. And they will, you know, say, you know, that 10 minutes of playing a game is enough time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, no. 10 minutes is often not enough time to do the tutorial on a game with a short tutorial. More or less do a review. I mean, you need to actually know the mechanics.
Oh yeah.
And you, and also with YouTubers, period, no YouTuber should be that, you know, that gets money for playing the game. I'm not talking about free keys, but anybody who actually gets paid money should never do a review on that game. They should cover the game, play it, but not a review. In no way should it be a review. It should be a let's play or whatever. Never a review.
Yeah. The one thing that annoys me a lot from a lot of these bigger channels is that they'll go into a topic, or the topic will be like X, but they'll spend the first 5 to 10 minutes of the video talking about, oh, but you can support me here and buy my shirt, and here's my merchandise. Like, there's no value up front. And I've heard from people say that a lot of that is because they try to get to the, you know, the 10-minute mark where they can put ads in their video. And like, that stuff just really annoys me.
Yeah, well, there's another reason why they do it. YouTube. Because if you look at the numbers on YouTube, most people do not stay on a video past the like first 30 seconds. So they need to get all their self-promotion out there first while people are actually listening and watching before they go away, and then you have the content after that. So it's a lot of stuff that has to do with the YouTube algorithm that really just enforces and like persuades people that are not even doing bad behaviors into doing bad behaviors, because YouTube rewards you and that.
They reward bad behavior. It's a negative feedback, or it's positive feedback, but it's rewarding the wrong behavior.
Yeah, and we know about the psychology back that the more when you're rewarded for doing something with positive feedback, then you're going to want to do that thing more. And then it just forces you. And since they're rewarding you for a negative behavior, then they're just forcing you basically psychologically down the bad path.
Yep. And I want to touch on what you just said there, Shark, about, you know, making like a 5 to 10 minute video, only playing a game for like 5 to 10 minutes. Like, it's that issue of, you know, just what exactly are they really, you know, providing somebody who's playing your game? Like, again, we see a lot of like big name YouTubers make like, it's like a 3 to 5 minute long video of them just making funny noises and like having like the game footage and stuff like that. But like, again, I would not be trusting PewDiePie to give me game design advice, or, you know, to tell me if I'm going to enjoy a game or not.
Yeah. And sadly, PewDiePie is probably better than other people.
Yeah, that's the staring to the abyss moment for our chat here.
Yeah, it's sad when PewDiePie is actually elevated above other people on that kind of thing. Because I mean, I don't watch PewDiePie or anything, but I have seen some of his videos because some of my fan base likes him and wants sends me videos. Hey, watch this. But he's gotten away from a lot of the gameplay stuff.
Yeah.
Recently, I know that. Well, it's probably not too recent, but I mean, the fact is that he does his voices and everything, but he does like edited content, and he does it in a lot of times a more funny way. Whereas these drama channels, rather than doing stuff for the fun of it and making the video more entertaining, kind of thing, they do it in a sarcastic, asshat kind of way, to where they're making fun of the game instead of making fun with the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're just trying to they're stirring up drama at the same time of making fun of the game to try to get more views and creating drama.
Yeah. And I think like the big test between, I guess, what would be considered like a good and bad YouTuber is whether or not they'll play a game to play it versus to play a game because it's the drama of what's going on right now, or to talk about it because it is the drama. Like, again, how many people covered Fallout 76 or the Slaughtering Grounds because Jim Sterling did it, or pick any game that gets any amount of
YouTube
publicity.
algorithm.
Yep. Like, again, like, there are people who will cover games because they want to play them. Like, I would be a good example of that. What's his name? I think Christopher Odd is another good one. There's a few other ones who I'm blanking on. But like, they will play a game because they like that genre. And, not because they're expecting to get millions and millions of hits or because there's drama surrounding that game. They just want to play it because that's what they like to play.
Yep.
I guess here's
few and far between.
Yeah. This may be paintings with a broad stroke here, or a brush, but it seems like city builders or strategy gamers like fall into that group because, like, again, nobody who plays Crusader Kings versus Fortnite is probably doing it for the views at that point.
Yeah.
Or at least not as bad as I should say.
I mean, you need the views to keep on going, but
Yeah.
they're not specifically catering to that. They're not letting the power corrupt them, basically. They're not feeding into the algorithm.
I mean, as a good case in point, tonight I'm going to probably be playing Simpsons classic video games, and Monday will be possibly Surviving Mars. So it's not like I'm keeping my finger on what's clickbaity right now. Unless some kind of scandal develops with The Simpsons between now and 9 o'clock tonight, then I'll be right in line there. But there is one final topic. Let me do a time check here. Yeah, we're about to hit 2 hours. There's one last thing that I want to talk about, and it's the other big thing about YouTube and streamers, and that is what you were talking about with me, Shark, before the cast. The idea of front-loading games, or I guess another quote-unquote, the YouTube or streamer-friendly games. Because this has been something that has definitely come up in the last 5 to 10 years. This idea of, we're going to make a game that is either A, more about the audience, or B, it's something that is purposely designed to be, stream or YouTube friendly. A game that you start and it's all of a sudden you're in it, it's wacky, it's weird. We've seen I don't know if you've watched any of this, Shark, but Disney XD put on a show during the summertime where they took clips of a bunch of YouTubers, Jacksepticeye, and just like a whole menagerie of YouTubers, and playing these games that they all looked horrible. To be honest, like all these games looked like they were just like, here's a wacky idea, laugh at it for 3 minutes and like and subscribe this video, and that was the whole game. But there, unfortunately, is a market for that, and I won't get your
Codage.io.
Yeah. But we could even put Five Nights at Freddy's in that category, all those Slender Man games. And again, for people who have forgotten, the whole reason Five Nights at Freddy's blew up was because Markiplier made his videos on it. And then everybody made videos on Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of those games that you're talking about are just like basically crap shows that YouTubers can use to make funny content, basically. And it's not that the game is good, because it's definitely not. It's that they can make fun of it and make jokes about it and start drama, basically, in order to get more views.
And I can't watch any more videos of a YouTuber doing a VR game and looking like an idiot for 10 minutes. I can't do that anymore.
Yeah. Issue is with them paying so much attention to the bad games out there and giving them a platform and like exposure, it's helping some bad games to succeed, which is hurting good games. And at the same time, they're using up more of their time, which gives less time for legit developers to actually get some of their time to make a video about a legit game, which makes it even more hard to get a exposure from them.
Yeah.
And even when you do get them to agree, we talk about the hook in games and everything, how long it takes you to get into that hook, right? The issue is YouTubers will often not give you very much time to get into that hook.
Like I say for myself, I usually give a game a good 20 to 30 minutes now about whether or not I can see the potential there. But I would say a lot of people maybe do far less, maybe like 5 to 10 minutes or even less than that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of YouTubers I've seen, and I've experienced this personally, one that says he gave it 20 minutes, but he gave it 20 minutes with him being on the pause screen for like 10 minutes and him talking and taking his time getting through the first 10 minutes. And it was actually really only like if he just, recorded the video and then added commentary after, it was really just a 5-minute play kind of thing.
And here's a bit of a behind the scenes for you guys. Whenever I do a video of a game that I don't stream, I will play that game for at least 30 minutes to an hour to get the footage. So I cut it down to like 8 to 10 minutes or sometimes less than that. But that is me playing a game for at least a solid 30 minutes to an hour before I'll do a video on it.
Yeah. And that's a good sign right there of quality work kind of thing. And the issue is that a lot of YouTubers won't do that. They'll just do the first 5 minutes or whatever, and they'll do it live kind of thing, and then they'll go back and edit it afterwards kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, go ahead, finish your thought.
The issue is now you have to basically, if you want any kind of legit attention from the YouTubers, you either have to have a special version of the game, like a demo version or something, that has a hook in it directly that they can get into in the first 5 minutes, or you have to give them a game that starts with a hook in like that first 5 minutes.
But herein lies the problem with that, of course. I'm sure you're well aware of, Shark. Not every game is designed around a 2 to 3 minute hook. Again,
yeah, I mean, you really can't do that in most games, and you have to compensate for it in other ways, like beautiful art,
Interesting
beautiful soundtrack,
story, or of course, again for the drama channels, there's some drama surrounding the game. Developers said so and so about gamers, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that's the point. Again, going back to what we were saying with a lot of these lesser quality games, that they are designed around that hook. It's 3 to 5 minutes of hilarity. Then there's nothing
more
else.
Stupidity.
Yeah, that's true as well. But I think Malwinius said this earlier when he looked at Duskers. I covered Duskers, and I know several smaller to mid-sized people did as well. That game has no hook whatsoever. Let's be truthful about this. You do not play Duskers for 2 minutes and you figure out that game. That's at least a good hour plus before you even start to understand exactly what that game is. The same goes for the stuff by Zachtronics as well. Anyone who says they can learn a Zachtronics game in 5 minutes is a complete liar. There is no way you're doing that.
Yeah. And then you have the other issue of tutorials and everything, and because tutorials pretty much prevent you from front loading the game.
Oh yeah.
Because you can't give them a hook. If you give them a hook and they don't know how to use it, they're just going to say crap.
Oh yes, and
I'll
let you finish before I go on my little rant there.
And if you give them you have to, in good game design, I would think, you have to you want to get your tutorials as seamless as possible to where the players don't realize they're going through a tutorial.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no hand holding, there's none of this. We tried to do this very much in Chromasia. We didn't fully teach the game as well as we should have, but we tried to streamline that tutorial, and everybody that played it, our testers that came in at the end part of the game, not the beginning. I mean, the beginning people definitely knew that there was definitely tutorials in there now, but the people who came in at the end, our beta testers, they had no idea that there was a tutorial at all in the game, but they had no issues learning it. It was natural for them. Where the beginning players oh yeah, there's definitely a tutorial in there. I had no clue what I was doing it for, and then gave feedback, and then they put in stuff to address that concern, kind of thing, and we got to see it from the beginning. But the people who came in at the end didn't realize there was a tutorial in there because it had been done pretty seamlessly.
Yeah, it's been refined over the course of development.
Yeah, of course there are tutorials out there that do not do that, and it's just these huge boxes of text. I think you had a issue today where you had 5 tutorial missions where they all had
yeah, Surviving Mars. You kind of cut out there, but I'm assuming that's the game that you were bringing up.
Yeah. Surviving Mars. You had there was 5 or 6 tutorial missions, and every one of those missions 10 or boxes, walls of text before you even got to start them.
Mm-hmm.
And
another game that I played that did that.
No, there's a lot of games that do that.
I know. I know. There's tons of them.
That's bad tutorial design, and it's super handholdy, and then it's degrading to the player, and players do not like that. Mm-hmm. But I tell you, YouTubers actually don't mind it. YouTubers, because YouTubers just, let me get the handholdy stuff, and then I know how to play from the handholdy stuff, and then I can go in here and play, and they can get the hook instantly. So, bad tutorial design is good for YouTubers that want to get the hook right away. Yep. It's very counterproductive and everything, and now that I think about it, maybe it's better to give make a special version for YouTubers, like a demo version, and just give them all the walls of text. They'll edit that out of their videos probably, I can almost guarantee you they will.
Oh yeah.
And then they'll be in there in the hook and just playing. I mean that's a good idea actually. I don't know if it'll work or how well it'll work. Not that it's easy to get YouTube to cover anyway, but I mean, if you can get the coverage, giving that special version to them might be a good thing to do. But it all depends on how much time it takes to make that special version.
Oh yeah, it takes different version means more development time.
Yeah. And would it be worth it, kind of thing? But that's not a bad idea. I just came up with live right there.
There you go. Yeah, but yeah, like I know some of the press people I've spoken to, they may send a press guide for the game that teaches you exactly how to play it. But yeah, it may be worth it to have like. I know I'm going to beat them to the punch here, like the remedial version of the game to give to YouTubers. The main game may be too complicated. Here's just, here's 5 to 10 minutes of just old, crazy shenanigans. Show that to people. But, like, and here's my final thought. Because, again, I could sit here and rant about YouTube and Twitch for another 5 to 6 hours. But, like, getting back to where you were saying earlier, about how YouTube and Twitch, in a way, kind of promote and reward bad behavior. We're kind of seeing like the same thing, almost like seep its way into game development, with a lot of people looking at games like Goat Simulator. Again, so many low quality games, and thinking that's what I need to make my game to succeed, and like, those practices don't make great titles. And it's almost like the reverse of the artistic or the critically well-received game that doesn't do well. In this case, it's a game that looks like it's being designed around a joke, and that it's just not an appealing game to people. Like, when I see these games that a lot of big-name YouTubers cover, with, like, just, like, horrible, like, 3D graphics, or, again, it just looks like I can play this game for 3 minutes, I don't want to buy that game.
Or, like, full of glitches and bugs. Like, there's that one car game where you're in another country. Really popular on YouTube.
Card game? Not Gwent, is it?
No. Car, not card.
Oh, car.
No D.
Oh, car game. You mean like the Euro Truck Simulator, that kind of thing?
Yeah, but it's not that game. It's where you do build your engine and everything, but it takes place in another country.
Oh, I think I know. Is that like the really, really complicated one?
I don't know if it's complicated. It's the one that's very physics-based, and like all kinds of stupid crap happens in it.
Okay, then probably
and
not.
Like you had the sausages and the I forget what the name of that is. But there's tons of YouTubers that cover it. Hold on, I think I can find this pretty quickly. Hopefully,
it's definitely not a Steven Sausage Works. That's a completely different game.
No.
Okay,
but it's very meme worthy.
Yeah, the whole meme like kind of era has been like another major thing for a lot of these games. So what you're saying, Gordo, is that I need to get a robe then, is that right? Can I get a wizard hat too?
My Summer Car.
Okay.
You know My Summer Car.
It sounds very familiar. That may be the one that I'm thinking of. Is this it?
You play as a guy that's wearing like a white beater and some jogging pants or something.
I'm thinking of another game. There's one that you're like in like I think you're in like Russia or the Ukraine, and you have to build a car from scratch. It looks.
Well, you don't have to do it from scratch in this one, but you do have to build your over and over again because like the physics keeps on wrecking it.
And I know, El Gordo, you mentioned a third one that is also like very high skill there.
But that game, like My Summer Car, like I mean, I look at the gameplay and it looks very frustrating, very like rage quit, material kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But like YouTubers like make a ton of videos on it because of those glitches and the frustration.
Mm-hmm. Uh-oh.
It's hit by a tree or by a pedestrian, and then it goes flying 500 loops around.
Oh yeah, like on that show that I was mentioning, like a lot of them were playing this game that was like you're riding a bicycle, and like if you hit someone, you just go like flying off, or the guy's arm gets knocked off, and the whole thing was just them hitting someone and then making like the face for like a good solid 10 seconds.
Yeah, it reminds me very much of Goat Simulator, but this is about building a car in another country and eating sausage, kind of thing. And it just there's not a lot of game there, and what game is there is very rage quit / frustrating. But I almost bought into it and bought the game because of the way they were promoting it and everything else, and like. Mm-hmm. I was on my wish list for a while. I almost bought it. They almost had me sold, and then luckily my eyes opened up before I pulled that trigger to buy the game.
Mm-hmm. Because
looking back at it, it's just bad design, like all the way through. But when you see all that promotion, like they gave it tons of promotion. Like there was like, I know at least 7 YouTubers that made a video about that game every day for like a year or two. And like, it's just so fun watching them because it is entertaining all get out, but like the game is not entertaining.
Yeah.
Watching them suffer and stuff is.
Getting over it. Remember when that took over YouTube for like 2 months?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And, I mean, we could have a whole hour-long discussion about the merits or lack thereof of getting over it. But, let me check our time. I know we're starting to get a little bit long here. Yeah, Octodad, Mount Your Friends, wasn't it a game, Genital Jousting or something like that? Again, there's a lot of games that are either designed purposely bad, or are just designed to be like the bare minimum of a game, and they're trying to get in for the memes and the crazy stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Speaking of which, as like our final point then. Oh my goodness! Somebody sent me a press release for the game Wanking Simulator.
Oh jeez.
And I'm not joking. I have the press release right here in my emails for it. Maybe I can do a double stream of that and that, what was that game? The Seduction game, that one. That everyone wants me to play as well.
I hear a certain YouTuber that's been, accused of a lot of things, played a lot of that game.
Oh, good.
you know who I'm referring to, right?
Yeah, it's in the news right now.
Yeah. Divorcing wife and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I actually was looking at his channel not too long ago, and there's actually many videos playing Super Seducer.
Oh, good. There it is. Thanks for reminding me of the name of that.
I'm like, yeah. Starting to make some sense there.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a video where he dressed up as one of the Cellar Scouts at the end.
Okay, then.
And that led into the some of the other images that came out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like,
Uh-huh. But I think with that lovely image, I think that's where we'll wrap it up for this week. So I guess the moral for today is try to keep yourself reputable, stay away from the dark side. And apparently the next big thing is I need to start getting robes and capes to wear here.
Yeah, you know what I just thought of? You could get you a green screen behind you, which you can do that for cheap. You can make one pretty cheap, and get one behind there, and then you can set random backgrounds behind you. That'd probably be pretty entertaining. You could even do like animated stuff. I mean, you could have like the game playing behind you in the background kind of thing.
Well, maybe I'll look for a wizard hat for Halloween. Or they'll probably be cheaper now, because nobody will be buying them at the moment. Alright. Well, folks, I guess we found the next set of memes for the Discord channel. That should be coming up probably within the next 20 minutes.
We need emo Discord channel.
Oh, you kind of cut out there.
I said we need some emotes for the Discord channel too.
Well, if someone wants to create some, let me know, because I can't seem to make very little images that look all that well. Alright. Okay. But I think with that, we're going to wrap things up for this week. Shark, thank you so much for being the relief co-host again. I think we had a really great discussion.
I enjoyed coming in here, like I always do. Glad to be here.
All right. And I'm sure if I'll have you back on in the future.
Yep, that would be good.
All right. But we're going to end things here for this week. So everybody watching, thank you so much for tuning in. Again, be sure to check out the Patreon, Discord, and and Twitter, because there's some people who don't know that I'm on Twitter at GWBlazer. Maybe I should mention that more in some of these streams. But thank you so much for watching. Yep.
They can also come and check me out.
Yep. There you go. Get the pointing right.
Yeah. Let me throw a link here in the Discord. Here we go.
Well,
That's
Shark.
one big link.
Yeah, and there you go. I'll put that. There you go. So you can check out Shark's Discord for Project Triad. But I'll be back later tonight for some regular game footage and come back for daily discussions on game design here and on game wisdom, where he's in the art and science of games. And I hope that for next week's show, which we'll be doing around 3:30, 4 p.m., that I will have some good news regarding the libraries and doing more presentations. But otherwise...
And your world domination.
Exactly. That's step 3. And then getting bought by Disney is step 4. But have a great rest of Sunday, everybody. And I will catch you all next time.
See ya.